everybody, and welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited you are here. I had the most amazing opportunity to have a soul chat with Dr. Joe Vitale. If you do not know who Dr. Joe Vitale is, he is amazing. He is someone that I look up to in terms of someone that's been in the coaching industry for a really, really long time. And his longevity with it is so inspiring. What he's doing is so inspiring. And I'm just so excited to share our conversation with you. We also talk about the Zero Limits movie. So if you don't know who Dr. Joe Vitale is, he is famous from The Secret. The Secret was a documentary that came out in early 2000s, and it also became a book. It was all about the law of attraction, and it totally impacted my life. I absolutely loved the book. I didn't see the documentary until way later, and he took off from that space. Like, he's been on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. He's done all sorts of different books. He has authored, I think, over 90 books. Like, it's amazing what this man is doing. And we talk about the movie, and we talk about his beautiful ancient Roman ring that I got the pleasure to give him a reading in the Zero Limits movie. And I actually share more in this Soul Chat interview with him about the ring as well. We talk about life, we talk about dreams, we talk about aspirations, we talk about him going to go get his black belt in his 70s. Like, this man is incredible. I hope you enjoy this Soul Chat interview, and please download, stream the Zero Limits movie on Apple and Amazon. You can watch it now. I'm so excited for this movie. Please support us. Please live your life at zero limits, and let's jump into this soul chat with Dr. Joe Vitale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our soul chat interview today. I'm so excited we have Dr. Joe Vitale. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm here with you. What could be better? This is amazing.
I'm
Thank you.
so excited to talk to you today. What inspired you to get into the self-improvement, self-help, spiritual space?
Yeah, I've had that question asked a lot over the decades. My simple answer is I got into self-help because I needed help. That's the simple answer. I
Right?
needed help. I was unhappy. I was insecure. I was immature. I was not going anywhere. I had dreams as a kid. I had big, big dreams in my heart, but I was so shy and so I was going to say retarded, but in many ways, I was considered that. And
Hmm.
so I had to look for help, and the easiest solution was the public library. And in the public library, they had a self help section. And that's where I began my quest, my search, and my love affair, which is what became, I guess, my vocation for a very long time. But I didn't know it in the beginning. I was just looking for help for myself.
I love that. And I think that that's usually what happens when someone's in their darkest moments is they are searching for answers, and God, universe always provides something to provide us breadcrumbs to follow where we're meant to go, which is
Yeah.
really nice. I see that you have the autobiography of a yogi behind you. How has that book
Yes.
influenced you?
Well, that's more recent. That's Yogananda, and Yogananda has become my spiritual buddy over the last few years. I actually have a copy of one of his other books sitting beside me, and it's signed by him.
Oh my
And so there's a
gosh.
lot of energy, yeah, and a lot of feel for that that's coming from him. So he's been in the last few years as I went through a divorce and we went through the pandemic and I went through the deaths of my parents and I went through the attempted suicide of a family member. I mean, there was a lot of darkness that hit all at once. I had to go searching again. I don't think I've ever turned off the seeker part of me. So I'm always exploring. But during those very turbulent, exhaustive times, I'm looking for more help again. And Yogananda appeared. And I started reading his works, and I was blown away. This man was speaking to me in the most divine, illuminating way. And ultimately, I got around to reading his famous book, The Autobiography of a Yogi. And that again opened my mind. There's a whole chapter in that book where he talks about miracles. Well,
Hmm.
Miracles has been my theme song for quite a while. I wrote a book called The Miracle. I have a coaching program called Miracles Coaching. I tell everybody expect miracles. I sign my blogs and my emails with expect miracles. And here was Yogananda who talked about it, I think in the 1940s.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, and way before me and way before I was even born. So Yogananda is he's my spiritual sidekick right now.
I read that book in my early 20s,
Yeah,
and it absolutely opened my eyes to what happens after death. And that's the
yeah,
part what I found the most fascinating about that book. So
right.
anytime I see someone that's connected to the book, it's like, what inspired you? What did you like about it? And I just recently revisit the book recently because I was like, what do I know based on my knowledge now, what
Mhm.
information in that book can take me further with
Right,
it? And at the time, and I'm super into crystals, at the time I didn't realize how many times he talks about crystals in the book either,
right,
which
right.
is really fascinating. So I'm glad that you found him because he's a fascinating
Oh,
yogi that
he talks about so many things. I actually have a bangle here that's because he wore one and he talked about it in his book that's made out of 100%, I think it's copper, 100% gold, 100% silver. And that is to help neutralize the negativity that might have come in upon my birth, and of course to help clean the way through life. And I don't think I've ever shown that before. I've never talked about it before, but it's one of the things I wear. And I wear it because Yogananda wore one. His teacher told him to wear one. And he talks about it in one section in Autobiography of a Yogi.
I love that. And thank you for sharing it. When I met you at your house, for anybody that's listening to this, Joe and I had the opportunity to film an amazing film together, which is Zero Limits. And I'm really excited to talk about it today. And the first thing when I met you is I started talking to you about your jewelry because I love anything that has significance because we purposely anoint ourselves with certain jewelry. And you were talking to me about your ruby necklace, and then I got
Yeah,
the opportunity to give you a
a
Akashic
reading.
record reading
Mhm.
on your Roman ring, which I was so honored to do. And I was thinking about that this morning before we hopped on the call. And there was another message I got for you if you're open to hear it.
I'm wide open. Start talking.
I got another message to with about the ring this morning, and that was that the metal is more important than you know
Mm.
because it represents the goldenness in the era in which you are seeking. So
Hmm.
it's funny that we were talking about seeking earlier, that you're always a seeker, but it's always there. It's always
Yeah,
within it. And so I believe in the movie I talked about the codes within the ring. And
yes.
what they mean by the goldenness too is that if you ever find that you're lost or you're seeking, tune into the metal of the ring. And then I love that you just brought up the bracelet that has the
Yes.
metal too. Because
Yes.
if you're ever like just kind of, sometimes we get in our head or we get nervous about something or we're overthinking or, like death comes up, we're grieving, things like that. You can just literally just take your finger and rub your finger in the inside of the ring and it'll connect you to the codes inside the ring. So it's like a
Oh,
way
how
to
beautiful.
fidget with it. So I hope that's helpful.
It's very helpful. I started fidgeting with the ring as you were talking about it. I took it off right now. I don't know that anybody could see that, but we do show it in the movie. So there is a scene in there where you're holding the ring, and we do have a close up of it so they can see it there. Since you brought it up, I should tell everybody this ring is estimated to be 2,500 years old. It is from ancient Rome. It is solid gold. It is engraved with the word FIDEM, FIDEM. And FIDEM is Latin for faith. And when I got the ring, which was many decades ago, I just had it as a collectible that I loved and was drawn to, but I didn't wear it. And then when I met Dr. Hew Len, who was the man who taught me Ho'oponopono, and we co-authored the book Zero Limits and whole stories about him, he asked to see it and he put it in the palm of his hand and he was feeling, much like when you did a reading on it, he was feeling the ring and he looked at it and he said an ancient orator, a speaker, had worn it. And he says, you are to wear it and never take it off. And from that moment, except for moments like when I took it off right now, or when I gave it to you for that sacred moment that's on film, I've always kept it. So thank you for the additional
I
insight
love it.
on this ring. It's very magical, and I had no idea when I got it. It's one of those things, you know how the universe and spirituality work. It drops it into your lap. You're led to it. You don't even know why. You didn't ask for it, but there it is. And then it becomes part of you, which is what this is at this point.
I love that. And thank you. It was such an honor to read it.
Mhm,
And thank you for sharing that with our audience today.
mhm,
When I read the Zero Limits book, and if anybody wants to check it out and also check out the movie is amazing. And we'll talk about the movie in just a second. I remember reading that in the book, and I forgot all about it until you were just talking about it.
yeah.
And so I love when unexpected things like that happen. And I think that when we are looking at certain precious metals, the metals are a part of our frequency codes that can help us grow and expand. So I love that you took his advice and you
Yes.
honored the advice and you ran with it because it's a really, really special ring.
Yeah. Well, I'm very much into jewelry. It's kind of ironic because when I was growing up and I was into kind of masculine things like boxing and fitness, I remember telling everybody and myself, I'm never going to wear jewelry. I'm never going to wear a ring. Well, I got it all over me now. I've got bangles, I've got necklaces, I got rings, and these are Vedic astrology rings. Some of them, like this one here, is a yellow sapphire, and the yellow sapphire is open, meaning the ring is open, so the stone touches my skin. It's the same thing on this side is a ruby, and that ruby is set in this ring in such a way that the other side of it is against my skin. Because in Vedic astrology, they say there's certain gemstones that help balance your karma and streamline your way. But you don't just wear the gemstones, they have to actually touch your body.
Yes.
And so I've gone from the guy who wasn't going to wear anything to having it all over me. I mean, necklaces here and there's stuff that's hidden. And my
I
God.
love it, Joe. I absolutely love it. And one of my Vedic astrology stones is the yellow sapphire too. I
Oh, that
have
was
I
my
have
very
the
first one.
emerald, but I haven't found a yellow sapphire yet that it feels like it's supposed to be mine. And I've been on the
I
hunt for
understand.
one for quite some time. So I'm hoping to find some. But I did just find some raw yellow sapphire.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
just little raw pieces that we have that I'm excited to make a grid with. So
Nice.
yeah.
Exciting.
So with the movie, so the Zero Limits movie, I know you went on the search to discover what Zero Limits was. You wanted to know about the Ho'oponopono prayer.
Yeah.
And when this opportunity to make the movie came out, how did it feel different than just presenting the book?
Uh, there's several stories within that wonderful question. The very first one is I had heard about a unusual therapist who helped heal an entire ward of mentally ill criminals by working on himself, not on them. And I had further heard that it was some weird Hawaiian thing that nobody knew anything about. And that was around 2003. And at that point, there wasn't anything on Ho'oponopono. There was nothing on the internet. There was nothing on the therapist. But I began a quest that became pretty much an obsession, a magnificent obsession, is what we'll call it. And I even hired a private investigator to find the therapist. And I did find him. His name is Dr. Hew Len. And we did connect. I did workshops with him. We had co-authored the book, Zero Limits. And we did 3 events together over a 10-year period. He has since passed on. He's gone. He's moved into the divine at this point. But he deeply influenced me by teaching me that crazy method, which is called Ho'oponopono. And as you know, Ho'oponopono is a way to change the outer by changing the inner. And you're changing the inner basically in the most simplistic way with 4 key phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And there's a lot to unpack and unravel there, but I want to make sure people understand this came from this therapist. Therapist passed on. He left the method with me and the people he has touched. We put it in Zero Limits, the book. This is where it gets interesting because at the same time, the movie The Secret came out, and I was in the movie The Secret, and I saw the impact of a movie. At that point, people are talking about the law of attraction, and I'm thinking, that's old news, folks. I got something better. I got something that goes beyond the law of attraction. I don't even want to talk about The Secret, but The Secret was everywhere. I went on Larry King, Oprah did specials. I mean, the whole world, New York Times, and they still talk about The Secret 20 years later. And that's where I had the aha that I got a book called Zero Limits. It's a great book. It's one of, I've written 90 books. It's the only one of my books I reread because it's such a powerful, inspiring story. I read it and I go, who wrote this? It came through me. And I remember thinking, not enough people read books, but they're all sitting in front of their TV or their
Yes.
computer and they're watching movies. And that's when I decided I need a movie about zero limits. I need a movie about Ho'oponopono. I need a movie that goes beyond The Secret. That's where the quest began. It was not an overnight manifestation. I had to find the right people. And in case your audience doesn't know, you're one of the right people. You are a star in the movie and you just beam and you have such insight. And of course, there's a scene where you're reading the ring we were just talking about, the FIDEM ring in it. So the long story short is I am a very lucky author. I got to meet Dr. Hew Len, work with Dr. Hew Len, write that book that I'm very proud of called Zero Limits, but I needed more to reach more people. And that's what led to me wanting to do a movie, which I'm proud to say, it's done. It's done. It's ready for the world. It's already been nominated, as you know, for 32 awards. It's won 18 awards. And I've been doing shows with ABC News and Los Angeles Tribune and Business Insider. And we did the premiere that you came to, and it was sold out, standing room only, red carpet, photographers. I mean, oh my God. I'll shut up because I can get on a soapbox and get on a roll, but this is your show.
No, I'm excited because The Secret influenced my life greatly. It
Yeah.
was one of the first, I actually read the book and I didn't see the documentary. I saw the documentary afterwards. And it was one of those things where I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is so much. And I've shared this story with you, but I want to share it again. I forgot you were in The Secret. I read Zero Limits as well. And you came across my social media feed, maybe Facebook, I don't remember, or Instagram, most likely Facebook. And you it was like an ad and I didn't recognize your face, but I was like, I'm gonna work with him one day. And I just let it go. And I'm like, I'm gonna work with him. I just had this massive download. So when this opportunity came across my desk, I was like, absolutely, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I love how the universe just like plants a little seed, and I knew right there and then I wasn't supposed to investigate it anymore. And so like you're very inspiring because for me being in the coaching industry, you've had a very, very long career in doing this and inspiring people and writing books. And so I think it's so exciting that you are excited about bringing something that you're so proud of to the masses so that this movement can be made, which is huge. How do you feel this is going to influence the masses in a way that you haven't seen with just a book?
That's a great question. I'll confide in you and your audience, and I'll be very transparent. Since the movie was an idea, before we filmed anybody or even knew who would be in the movie, I remember saying as my new intention, I wanted this movie to be bigger than The Secret. I wanted it to do as well, but even surpass its impact because I felt from day one that the whole story of Dr. Hew Len and healing the mentally ill criminals and using Ho'oponopono on himself to influence the outer world, I thought this was the most miraculous, inspiring, unusual, incredible story of all time. When I had first heard the story, I thought it was a fable. I thought it was an urban legend. I said, that can't be true. But as I did work with him, and meet the social workers and a lot of people involved in the actual hospital. I did the research to write the book, and I realized that a movie like this can turn the world on its head.
Hmm.
It can really spin people out of their limitations, which is, it's called Zero Limits for a reason. This is a brand, this is a message, this is a mission, this is a movement at this point. And yesterday we were on a marketing call for the people in the movie. I don't think you were on it, but there's a
No, I was
recording of
teaching
it.
one of my classes, so I'll
You
be
were
watching the
teaching a class,
replay.
but there's the recording of it. But at the very end, I had this inspired message, which I shared with everybody. In fact, when I was done sharing it, we closed the meeting because nobody could speak after.
Oh, I can't
And
wait to see it.
well, here's what I said though. I said the world is really suffering. I had come in contact with several people who either attempted to end their lives or actually did end their lives. And when I had heard about these suicides and attempted suicides, including one in my own family, and even now I feel it. It was like the inner part of me was collapsing. It's like, I got to do something. I got to get some message out there. If I can only reach these people before they do the deed and give them that hope, that inspiration, the ray of sunshine, the life raft, something, we could save lives. And I thought, that's what this movie can do. They're not all reading books. I can't get my books in everybody's hands. And even if I did, they're not going to all read them. Not that many people read books, which is sad for me as an author to hear. But they are watching TV, as I mentioned, they are watching the internet. And if I can slide that message to them, just get it to them, it could give them something to get them through the day.
Yeah,
And if they
absolutely.
really take it on and start practicing, like I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, the whole Ho'oponopono process, it can actually transform their life. So this has gone beyond being a movie. This is actually a remedy to suffering, a remedy to the people that are considering suicide. This is a way to actually heal the planet. So I do want people to see the movie, but it's no longer because here's an interesting movie and it has a technique in it. It's more about here's a movie that can change your life. You watch it and get other people to watch it and pass it around. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. It's going to be on Apple TV. It's streaming at the website, zerolimitsmovie.com. So people can see it. There's no excuse not to go and see it. It's either going to be free or next to nothing, depending on what vehicle people use. So I want them to go to zerolimitsmovie.com, not because you're in it, not because I'm in it, but because it could save lives.
And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that because I've been in my darkest place where I didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And when you hear stories of other people's struggles and other people's ability to crawl and rise through the ashes, it makes you
Yes.
feel stronger than what you feel at that moment in time, which is
Yes.
really important. And what I think is really cool about the movie is there's so many different perspectives, so many different cultures, so
Yeah.
many different ways of looking at what does zero limits look like. And as humans, we naturally want to find what is the most relatable to me so I can see where I can go with that. And I think there's a relatable story with all of the cast members and all the experts in there that somebody can find a relatable story in it. And I think it's so powerful. And one of the things that I found really fascinating with the Ho'oponopono prayer and the doctor's work in terms of the it was a mental prison, right? A mental hospital prison.
Yeah.
As
It
someone
was an
that,
insane asylum, really. It was a mental
yes,
hospital for the criminally insane.
yes, those are the types of people that most people would give up on. And the problem with our society right now is most people are in an unstable place. and and it's because of many things. It's because of economic situations. It's also because of social media, because of the consumption rate of comparing. It's also like our teens. The risk of suicide for teens now is drastically higher than what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Well, actually, it would be more than 10 years ago, probably like 15 years ago. But the rate for taking your life as a teenage girl is insanely high. And so getting this message out there to even the parents, so the parents have a way of shifting the energy in the house, and shifting their perspective and shifting their relationships with their kids, or knowing what to do or how to do it. And just, it's really inspiring to see. And with the doctor's work in terms of um, working with what people would deem as non-important people, or people that they just want to give up on. Like, I grew up in a family that we have mental health issues. There are mental health issues in my family that most people would have just turned their eyes to. They're just crazy, right? But no, like, some people cannot help what they were born with. If they're born with bipolar, or they're born schizophrenic or something like that. And so having something like this where you can also separate your energy from someone else's impact as well, I think is really, really powerful. What would you say to someone when they're like, I don't have anything, and I'm sure you've answered this question before. I don't feel like I need to say sorry because I didn't do
Mhm.
anything wrong. What would you tell someone that maybe working with the Ho'oponopono prayer, how they can work through that particular statement of, I'm sorry, please forgive me?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you are correct. I have heard that question at this point since Zero Limits came out, I think in 2005. So I've had 20 years of hearing from people in every way, shape, or form. In fact, I wrote, I think, 4 books to help explain Ho'oponopono and Zero Limits. I wrote Zero Limits, and then 10 years later, I wrote At Zero. And a few years later after that, I wrote The Fifth Phrase. And then after that, the most recent book is called Zero Limits Living. So I've heard everything. The one you're pointing out is a common complaint. People will say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I don't want to say I'm sorry or please forgive me, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, it's not about whether you did anything wrong or not. It's about whether you've been conscious or unconscious. That's really it. And my example has been, have you ever gone to a store, a grocery store, a department store, and it's fairly busy, and you're there looking at your shoes or looking at bananas, and you turn around and you bump into somebody? Don't you naturally say, I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
That's the level that's behind the statement. It's not about guilt. It's not about punishment. It's not about wrongdoing. It's about unconsciousness. When I do Ho'oponopono, and for me, I've been doing it for well over 20 some years, maybe 25, and a lot of it is on autopilot in my head. So even as I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to you, the background voice, I used to say the background tape, but the voice in my head is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It's going on all the time. And we're saying these things to clear up our unconscious beliefs. If they're unconscious, you don't even know that they're there. So when somebody says, I want to use Ho'oponopono because I got financial problems, well, when they say, I'm sorry or please forgive me, it's for the limiting beliefs around finances that you don't even know are there. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean you're guilty. It doesn't mean you're going to be punished. But it does mean you bumped into somebody at the grocery store and you say, I'm sorry. You bumped into this invisible blind spot of a limiting belief in your brain, and you want to say, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I don't know where it came from. In Dr. Hew Len's version of Ho'oponopono, these beliefs are downloaded to us from the beginning of time. And so if we start to think we inherited all of this, then you really feel like it's not your direct responsibility that you have it, but it is your direct responsibility to help get rid of it. And this is the level that we say when we're saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'm sorry for wherever the belief came from. Could have come from my parents, grandparents, the beginning of DNA on an alien planet. We don't know where
Yeah.
it came from, but we know we got it. There's a limiting belief there. All right, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, and please forgive my ancestors. All of us have been unconscious to this. Thank you for taking care of it. Thank you for resolving it. Thank you for deleting the belief from here all the way through back to the beginning of the cosmos. And I love you, which is my all-time favorite thing to say. I love you for the cleansing. I love you for the process. I love you for the healing. I love you for taking care of this for my family. And in Ho'oponopono, the belief is when you take care of it in yourself, you take care of it for all humankind.
It's
So
amazing.
when we take care of the limiting belief and we go back into prosperity, now you're taking care of that for everybody, not just you. So I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. They're very neutral statements, but they actually unlock power and clarity that wasn't there before, mostly because we were unconscious to it.
I love that you say that because the guardians of the Akashic Records, they'll often say it's important to acknowledge forgiveness and just saying I'm sorry because you unknowingly and knowingly do things all throughout the
Mhm.
day. And a lot of times it's unknowingly. Unknowingly, you hurt someone because, you could have accidentally cut someone off as you're driving, don't realize they spin out and hit their tire and get a flat tire, which completely ruins their day, but you're oblivious to
Right.
the fact of that happening. But in some way, shape, or form, you hurt that person, even if you didn't mean to do it on purpose. And it can be tiny, small acts that happen throughout your lifetime. And I think it's really important to clean the energy like that as much as we possibly can. And I call this like, even like closing out the day and scrubbing out the day because
Mhm.
we have so much that just is constantly flying at us all throughout the day. And so I think the Ho'oponopono prayer at the end of the day can be a really powerful thing to say, and it doesn't take very long at all to say it.
Yeah, that's what I remind people. Saying these four phrases takes about a second and a half, and it doesn't cost anything, and nobody even knows you're doing it. It's an inside experience. And Dr. Hew Len said that if you knew how much cleaning and clearing was being done when you did the Ho'oponopono phrases, you would never stop doing them, ever. And I have taken that on. In the beginning, like anybody, when you first learn the four phrases, you go, what were those phrases again? And you got to write them down. I have a little yellow sticky that I put on the computer and I can go, oh, there it is. I love you. I'm sorry. Please hear me. Thank you. Until it started to become memorized. And then by continually doing it, it becomes automated and then it becomes part of my consciousness. And so that's what's going on for me. And I think that's the best way to do it. I've told people many times, if you have a problem in your life, that's when you really want to focus on, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, because you're feeling something. You are in the mud at that
Yep.
point. So while you're in the mud, you really focus it. But the other thing I've learned is that by continuously doing it, I pulled myself out of the mud. Now I'm going through my life. By continuously doing it, the example I use is it's like a street sweeper that goes out at night. In most big cities, they got a snowblower or a street sweeper that goes out while you're sleeping, and it's cleaning the roads. So when you get on the road the next day, it's clean. That's Ho'oponopono. You do, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, whether you're in the mud or not, just to do it out of the meditation. And as a result, your road through life gets clean before you step on it.
Yes. Which is fabulous. You
It
start
is
off with a
fabulous.
really
Yeah.
sparkly clean road, which is great. with 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 the movie, I know, I want to kind of switch
Sure.
directions. That's going to come out September 25th
Yeah.
on Apple and Prime. um so if you're interested in doing that, make sure you go check those out. You can also go to the Zero Limits movie website, and we'll put that in the URL in the show notes and description. I want to go in a completely different direction with you.
All
You
right, bring
you
it on.
just recently just started, and I loved it. I saw your post, and I was like, yes, love that. You just started doing martial arts, and you have a lofty goal. What's your goal, and why are you inspired to do martial arts at this age?
When I turned 71, which was the end of last year, um, I marched into a mixed martial arts dojo, sampled the class, was totally unnerved, challenged, and frightened. And I thought, this is what I got to do. And I signed up for the entire year. And I started going to the class. I started getting some belts. And then, because, some people know me from my books and everything, the man who founded that particular martial arts, Kovar's Mixed Martial Arts, had known of me and he wanted to meet me. So we had lunch and we were both impressed with each other. I mean, we both came out of nowhere and were creating something, him in martial arts and me in the world of self-help and spirituality and even marketing. He had just kind of flippantly, as a throwaway comment, said, if you just kept going in about 4 years or so, you could probably have a black belt. And I remember he planted a seed. And there was another person who was a black belt karate champion who I had met through the Napoleon Hill Institute, who was giving me some lessons by iPhone. So in other words, he's in Texas, I'm now in California. He would make a lesson on the iPhone and send it to me. I'd look at my iPhone. This was a long, tedious process, but I was so inspired that he was taking the time to do it. And he started saying, I envision you as a black belt. And I thought, where's this coming from? And as you know, the universe starts speaking to you through other people. And so here I have Kovar telling me you can be a black belt, and Sensei Lewis telling me you can be a black belt. And I thought, I'm going to own it. And I publicly declared, I'm 71, just get into mixed martial arts, haven't been in a dojo in over 50 years, but I'm going to have a black belt by the age of 74, if not sooner.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you're practicing. It's a practice. Martial arts is a practice,
Yes.
just like yoga is a practice. You're
Correct.
practicing it. And what do you tell yourself when you come across
Mm,
maybe a position or pose? I'm not sure exactly
yeah.
what it's called.
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself when you come across something that's challenging or it feels
Oh, what
like
a
it's
great question.
incapable in your body to do?
Uh,
Because as we get older, our bodies start to hurt, they ache, things like that.
yeah.
So what do you tell yourself? What's the process of working through that challenge?
What a great question. I think this is really useful for people because all of us do things that are a little scary, a little unnerving, and maybe really big in terms of terrifying us because we're thinking we're going to do what? And I'm looking at this. And of course, I've been around the block in terms of doing things that are scary. When I decided to be a musician at the age of 60, I was terrified. I was literally terrified because I thought, I don't even sing in the shower. How am I going to record music? How am I going to get on stage? How am I going to do it? You have no idea how traumatizing it was for me to consider being a musician. But I also had enough skills to know, question your beliefs, do ho'oponopono, take it one step at a time, get coaching, mentoring, all the things we know that work. And as a result, I recorded 15 albums. And I
That's
was in Rolling Stone
amazing.
magazine. And some of my music is, you can even see me playing some music in the movie Zero Limits. There's a little segment or two there. And so I know from that. And also, somewhere in my 60s, I took up strongman training. And strongman training is when you bend a horseshoe in your bare hands, steel bars, push a nail through a board. I mean, this is superhuman stuff that also scared me. It also scared me because I was in my 60s doing that and thinking, man, I'm going to get hurt. I mean, what if the nail goes through my hand and not the board? I mean, this is scary stuff. And again, I know, question the beliefs, assure myself that I'm going to take care of myself, take all the precautions that are necessary to learn what I got to do. And of course, I did strongman training. I got a pile of horseshoes. I used to meet people for lunch and say, hey, I bent this nail for you. And they just look like, okay, what do I do with this? But it was me going to the next level. So when I go to Kovar's martial arts, it's mixed martial arts. So there's everything from jujitsu and grappling to kicking and kempo to other things that I can't even. There's sparring, there's boxing. Most of it's contact. You're wearing gloves and you're wearing a helmet, but you're getting hit and you're hitting back. So this
Yeah.
is real world stuff. And part of me wanted to do it because I thought when you get older, we keep hearing you have to do something to be engaged. And for
Right.
most people, they walk and they do crossword puzzles. That's not quite engaging to me.
You
You
got to
know,
keep
I
your
watch,
muscles.
yeah, I needed to do more. And this challenges me. It absolutely challenges me mentally and physically. And I spent a lot of the day, like I'm going tonight to another class, and next week I'm being tested for the next belt, which I think is the green belt. So I'm doing this, but I have all day to psych myself up or psych myself out. I have all
Yes.
day to wrestle with the demon that shows up saying, man, you don't have to go. Nobody's making you go. You get this, if you blow it off, nobody's going to think anything of it. But also the other part of me that is going, I'm doing this for me. And I also know when I had posted that enough people are looking that I'm inspiring them. And I'm not
Hmm.
going to let them down. You know, I've got to do this to go through this and make a difference. And then the final thing I want to say, and this is probably what I should have said first, I have an operating belief. And that operating belief is also a title of one of my books. And that is anything is possible. Anything is possible. Whenever I have a goal, a dream, an intention, and it scares me because I've never done it before, which is usually when it scares us, is that we're going out of our comfort zone. We haven't done this before. I've said that if I was going to decide to climb mountains in the Himalayas, the first thing that would happen is I'd be terrified. Like, how am I
Yeah.
going to do that? In my 70s, out of shape, overweight, I'm going to go climb a mountain. But I would find a way because anything is possible and there's always a way. So I bring online the positive part. I think to sum this up, there's a book by Napoleon Hill that everybody should read. It's called Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil. It was not published during his lifetime. That was considered too intense and too controversial. It was published after his death, and it is probably the best book that he ever wrote, one of the best books I've ever written or read in my life. Outwitting the Devil, and the devil is your own mind.
Hmm.
And so if you listen to the devil, if I listen to the devil, the doomsayer, the naysayer, the one that says you can't do this, you don't have to do this, I won't go to the class. I will have listened to the devil. But if I create this inner coach, this inner cheerleader, this voice of the divine who says, you're a child of God. In fact, we were talking about Yogananda earlier, and Yogananda said, do things that are impossible to prove the God principle within you. Well, when you take that on and you realize, wait a minute, I'm either God or I've got access to God, then why
Hmm.
would I not go to class? Why would I not be a musician? Why would I not learn strongman training? Why would I not write 90 books? Why would I not pursue having my own movie? If I'm God, or at least have access to it. That was a mouthful, but I think that was my.
But it's true though, because God dwells within us, and our primal being is programmed to see the negative first. And
Yeah.
so you have to question the belief because automatically your brain's going to go, I'm going to get hurt. Or
Yeah.
I recently, I'm hypermobile. And so I had a lot of nerve issues for a really long time, and I could not lift weights. I learned how to lift weights, and I lift weights from when I was 18 years old. I like got my first personal trainer. Like I would go and
Nice.
lift weights 4 times a week. And then, about 10 years ago, I hurt myself really bad. I hurt my neck, and I could not lift a weight to save my life without a massive flare up. And so last summer, I'm like, I'm doing it. Like I'm in a healthy place where I can do it. And anytime I had a flare up, I had to like work through the flare up, work through the inner demons inside my head that were like, see that just to prove your point, like this is happening again. But guess what? I can lift weights again. I feel so much
Mhm.
stronger. I have
Yeah.
very few flare ups. Like it's amazing. So I love that you're doing this because there is always a possibility that you can get hurt. You can step off the curb and get
Right.
hurt, which
Right.
is a very strong possibility. So I love that you're going for the black belt. I think it's amazing. I have a completely different question for you in a different direction. You've wrote 96 books, right? Is that what you said?
90.
90 books.
Last
Must be
I,
writing 6 more books.
yes, there's more coming.
What is your writing process and has it changed over the years?
That's a great question. I've helped lots of people write books because early on, when I was coming out of, I was homeless and I was in poverty. My first book was 1984, and I started helping people with books around that time. So at this point, I've helped thousands of people come out with their own books. And of course, I've written my own 90 some, and I got more to write and more to come out. I'll tell you how to simplify the process and I'll tell you what I do. And the very first thing is when I have an idea, I jump on it pretty quick. And I'm the guy in the movie The Secret who says the universe likes speed. One of my books is called Money Loves Speed. And it's because when the idea comes, it's a gift from the divine, and it's your job to bring it into being. And what
Hmm.
I do, I got an idea for a book, do my best to drop everything and start writing it right then and there. The next thing is to realize when I'm writing it right then and there, it's probably mostly going to be crappy because the first draft is not usually the final polished draft. Sometimes it is, sometimes it can be. But for the most part, for most people, if they can just get out of their head and dump the idea, got an idea, dump it on the computer right now, get as much of it in there as possible. Take a little break, then you come back, and now you can bring the editor online, or you can even hire editors, and you can make the book streamlined. So, in a very boiled down, basic approach, idea, implementation by writing it, and then revising and editing. Then I can let it go.
So when you get an idea, how quickly do you get the book onto paper or
Yeah,
onto the
that's a
into
great
the
question.
computer?
And I know people are going to resist hearing this, but I do my best to drop everything and begin writing because the idea is there. The
Hmm.
energy is there. And I've told people, how many of you have had ideas for products, for businesses, for books? And mostly everybody raises their hand. They've all had that experience. But how many of them actually worked on it? Most of them let it go thinking, oh, I'll do it later or I'll come back to it. Even if that were true, and most of the time it is not, most of the time it just dissolves, it's gone. Even the good idea is not even there in memory anymore. But even if you did go back to it, the energy, the excitement that came with the idea isn't there. Now it's just a
Yeah.
good idea. Now you're going, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I can go ahead and do it. So I have found that when an idea hits me, it's a bolt of lightning from God. It
Hmm.
is the divine giving me a gift. My responsibility is to say yes to it and start to act on it. There were times I remember when I lived in Houston and I was unknown. I think I only had the one book published, and I got an idea for a book coming while I was driving. I pulled off the road. I pulled off the road and started writing right there on the side of the road because I wanted to get as much as I could to anchor the energy, the feeling, the meat of the idea. In other situations, if I'm actually home and near a computer and so forth, slam the door shut, time for me to start writing, and I'll do my best. Now remember, when I'm saying I'm sitting down doing this, I'm not writing a perfected book. I'm capturing the essence
Hmm.
of what's coming through. Now, having said all of that, I have to tell you one behind the scenes story. The book we've referred to, the book that became the movie Zero Limits, the book called Zero Limits, it pretty much wrote itself in 2 weeks, first draft, barely tweaked or touched. And in fact, when I gave it to Dr. Hew Len, because he's billed as the co-author, he put his hand over it and he said, Divine says it's perfect. And he
I
handed it.
love it.
And that book finished it in 2 weeks, turned it into the publisher. And while I was finishing it and turning it into the publisher, it was already listed on Amazon because the publisher had put it as a book coming soon. It became a bestseller before the publisher printed it.
It's amazing. I got goosebumps everywhere. That's
The
incredible.
cosmos gets behind. You can call it God, the angels, whatever you want to say, gets behind things that it once brought into being. And that's how this movie has been brought into being. Zero Limits has been a directive from the other side. And all the people, I didn't know all those people. You and I didn't know before this. all these people showed up. There's at least 20, I think, that are the stars of the movie. And as you pointed out earlier, everybody has a different story, which I think is so wonderful for the audience because they're not going to relate to me. And hopefully they'll like some of what I say. But I'm not the only person there. I'm not the single star there. And all these different stories is what's going to inspire people on different levels. Each person will pick out somebody that they really are aligned with. My whole point being, I didn't orchestrate that. I said yes to that. I got aligned with that. I participated in that, but I didn't orchestrate that. I didn't know you. I didn't reach out to you. I didn't tell you about the movie. And most of the people, John Asseroff is in the movie and he was in The Secret. I did reach out to him, but I mean, he said yes. But most of the people, they were angels sent from the divine to be in a movie called Zero Limits.
And I just love how the universe works like that,
Yeah,
which
me
is really
too.
neat. And I love your writing process. And I love that the Zero Limits book just whoosh, like there's Elizabeth Gilbert talks about that. If you sit on the idea, it will go to someone else that's ready
That's
to
exact.
go with it.
I say the same thing.
And I was pregnant in 2020. I was writing a book and I had to stop because I was bedridden. It was just not
Hmm.
it wasn't important for me to finish, and I cannot pick up the book yet. I cannot
Yeah.
finish the book because it's just the energy isn't there anymore to do it. And one day I will, but it's just funny how that all works. And I've done that with other projects where I sat on it way too long, and then when I decide to do it, none of the inspiration is there, and so it doesn't ever work out. But when you run with it as fast as you possibly can, it always usually works out, or it leads you to the thing that's going to be the thing that you're meant to be
Yeah.
doing
Well,
as
let me give
well.
you a tip from Ernest Hemingway that could help you and may help a lot of people that are watching or listening to us. Ernest Hemingway, of course, was the great American novelist, and he deeply influenced me, his writing and so forth. When he would write, he'd be writing away, he's in the flow, he's got everything going. He would stop in the middle of a paragraph, in the middle of a sentence, completely
Ooh.
stop while the flow is still there. Because the next morning he would go back to his typewriter, no computer in those days, typewriter, and he would reread what he was writing. He'd start to pick up the flow, get to that paragraph that's incomplete, get to the sentence that's incomplete, and he was able to pick it up and keep the river going.
Oh, that's amazing. I
Yes,
like that.
yes, and it's one of the, it's especially a tip if somebody wants to write a book. Because if you get the idea for the book and then you sit down in front of your computer and you start writing, you're probably not going to write the whole book in one day.
Hmm.
You might,
Yeah.
but you're probably not going to write it in one day. So maybe the Hemingway trick could help where you're writing, you're in the flow, but at some point just stop, just back off mid-sentence, knowing next day when you go back, read what you were writing. That'll start to get the flow going. Then you'll get to that cliffhanger because you didn't finish the sentence or the paragraph, and just let it flow. Just pick up where you left off. Just trust. Fight them. The ring says trust.
I love it. Do you have plans or goals? I know you have health goals and things like that in terms of your business and how long you stay coaching and things like that. What does that look like for you? Because you're at the
That's
age that you can retire.
that is a great question. First of all, I may be 71 and a half, but I feel more like I'm 32 and a half, and I act like I'm more 12 and a half. So I don't really feel the number or to be able to address it the way some people do. And over the years, people would ask me about legacy. And at first, I was offended. It was like, legacy, that's for dead people. Legacy is for the ones that are on their way to the funeral home. I'm nowhere near that. I'm alive. I'm writing. I'm recording. I'm making music. I just bought a new guitar and I'm writing new songs. I mean, I got stuff going on here. But I'm also aware that I'm kind of moving closer to the exit sign of life. And so, what do I want to do? Well, part of it is I have a lot of work that has not been promoted in decades, most of the marketing, because before The Secret came out, I had invented hypnotic marketing, hypnotic writing, and there was a whole company and a product line of hypnotic this, that, and the other. Well, I'm bundling it to see if one, oh, I can say his name, Russell Brunson, has been keeping a lot of lost secrets alive, and he's very much a fan of my work in hypnotic marketing. I want to see if he will take that and put it in his museum that he's building to keep that part alive. And the coaching, I think everybody needs a coach.
I
I
agree.
found that that was a turning point in my life. I had been in homelessness, as I had mentioned. I was in poverty, and I was doing all the right things. I wasn't addicted to booze or something. I mean, I was following dreams. I was reading the books. I was applying them to the best I could. But it wasn't until I had a coach that I started to have breakthroughs. And the reason for that is that when we try to change on our own, we're still working within our limited belief system. But we don't know it's our belief system. We just think it's reality because it's what we've known. And we're living from it, we're living in it, and we don't see it. But a coach, somebody who's trained to observe, to reflect, to be unconditionally loving to you, can help reflect what's going on. And now you have a chance to change it. So I found the value of coaching, and I started miracles coaching decades ago, and I would love for that just to keep going. The website's miraclescoaching.com, but I would love for that to keep going. I've written 90 books. I have other books in mind. Another one is written and ready to go somewhere, someplace. I have seen the power of a movie with Secret. Now, of course, we have Zero Limits, but I have other ideas for movies that could really also awaken the planet. And then, of course, I have a movement to end homelessness. I started this a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago. It's called Operation Yes. And I told the publisher of the Los Angeles Tribune about it. He got excited and said he wanted to be the director of it.
Mm.
So Operation Yes is designed to end homelessness. And whether people think it's crazy or not, in many ways, I'm introducing an idea. It just follows my whole life. It's like, let's find out what the limits are and let's push. And let's find out if we can go to zero limits, which is my theme, my brand, my message, my song. And Operation Yes. Oh man, wouldn't that be amazing to end homelessness, or at least make it optional for people?
Yeah,
Because some people do
absolutely.
like being homeless.
Yeah, homelessness is a very complicated thing where it's not
Yeah.
just some people don't want to have
Yeah,
help and
to
they
my
don't want to
amazement,
get
when I
off the
met some,
streets.
they were like, I'm getting by, I'm getting fed, I'm okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which is fascinating. I love where you're going. I love how inspiring you are, and I love
Yeah.
that there are no limits to where you're heading and what we're all heading into as well, which is amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we hop off?
Oh, probably all kind of things. Um, for whatever reason, I want to mention a quote that came from Seneca. Seneca was one of the old Roman, he's a poster boy for Stoicism. But there was one quote that I found from him that really helped me, and I want to quote it, maybe take 1 minute to explain it. He
Yeah.
said, "You have the power to make things seem easy, hard, or amusing. You have the power to make things seem hard, easy, or amusing," is the way he put it. And I remember being stumped when I saw it and wrestling with it a little bit. But he was pointing out that you have choice. When things are going on in your life, and everybody's got something going on, whether it's the world or it's personal, we've got something that's going on in our lives that we probably want to change. You have the power to make it look hard. That seems to be the default. Most of us will look and go, yeah, that's really hard. But he also said it could be easy. When he said that, it was like, oh, if I look at this differently, maybe it's not a hard thing. Maybe it's actually an easy challenge of some sort. So the perception, the way I look at it, is making all the difference. But then he said, or you can even say it's amusing. And that went through me. It's like, oh my God, how's the pandemic amusing? How's a divorce amusing? How are the deaths of my parents amusing? How's attempted suicide amusing? What? And then I saw an interview with Jerry Seinfeld. And Jerry Seinfeld said, if you're not telling a joke, why are you talking? He just lives for humor. And he
Yes.
had been in an interview where he said, when there's a tragedy in the world, the comedians have the jokes that night. He says, but we don't tell them yet because the world isn't ready to hear them. But it opened my mind to go, you mean I could look at it as humorous? And that's the reminder from Seneca that I give as a gift to everybody. No matter what's going on, yep, you can look at it as hard, you can look at it as easy, or you can look at it as amusing. The choice is yours.
I love that. And I do think that it's so crucial because I tell everybody this when we're doing healings, we're doing things inside of the Akashic records. I don't care how dark it is, I don't care how heavy it is. There is always an opportunity to laugh in the session because
Beautiful. Oh,
when
that's
we
beautiful.
find
Yes.
laughter, it is the thing that breaks all of the enmeshment up. And it's so powerful. So thank you for that quote. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom today. We'll put all the links in the show note and show description. Thank you, Joy. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. You are a delight. You are a great gift, and it's been my honor and privilege to be here. So thank you, and thanks for what you're doing.
Hello, my friends. How was that? Are you excited to watch the Zero Limits movie? Please make sure you stream it. This is going to be very impactful. You're going to hear from all sorts of different experts on how to live your life at zero limits. You can check out the show notes and show descriptions for all the additional links that we talked about during this SoulChat interview. And remember, you can stream Zero Limits movie on Apple and Amazon now. All right, please make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a friend. Bye.